So we're middle of Kuntres Acharon, the simon called David's Miras Kares Lahu. We're on page Kuf Samachalef, which is opposite of page 320. And let's quickly synopsize where we are up until this point. So,
we don't fight. No, we don't fight.
Thank you.
So this is all based on the story which we spoke about at length during last year. David HaMelech, when he was bringing the Acharon, when he was attempting to bring the Acharon to Yerushalayim, the Acharon with the Luchas, so there was a tragedy that happened, and that the two brothers, Kohanim, Uzzah and Achyoy, so as the Acharon was slipping off the wagon, or it seemed to be slipping off the wagon, so they grabbed hold to stabilize the Acharon, and they both were killed. They both died on the spot. And the Gemara says that the reason why was David punished with this? Why was David punished that his parade? What do you say? Is the tahalucha, his whole ceremony, and his whole joyous occasion was destroyed by this tragedy? So the Gemara says that what happened was that David HaMelech, he said Zmiras Hayli Chukacha. David called the Torah Zmiras, like a song, and the Eibishter took offense. And the Eibishter says, David, Zmiras Kares Lahu. David, you're calling my Torah Zmiras songs. Chayecha, I swear to you that because of this slight, because you offended my Torah, so your punishment is going to be that you're going to forget something which even Tanekish L'Beis Rabba and even little children know, which is that the Pasuk says that Avedis HaKodesh Aleim Bakosef Yisou, that the Acharon has to be carried dafka on the shoulders, and you're going to forget that. So David HaMelech, he forgot about this mitzvah of carrying the Acharon on the shoulders, and he put it instead the Acharon on a wagon, and that's caused the chain reaction, because it's on the wagon, so therefore it slipped off, and therefore Uzzah and Achye made the mistake of trying to stabilize it, even though they shouldn't have. As we explained last time, that they should have realized that the Acharon is not falling anywhere. The Acharon carries those who carry it, and certainly can carry itself. And we asked on this the beginning of last class, we asked on this a number of questions. First question is, why did David Torah call Torah Zmiras? Why did he call Torah a song? What was his intention with that? Second, question number two, why was the Eibishter upset that David HaMelech called Torah songs? Why is that offensive? Obviously, we cannot answer question number two without knowing the answer to question number one, right? So that was the second question. Number three, why the punishment is a very unique sort of punishment? Why was David HaMelech punished with forgetfulness? What's the connection? That's question number three. Question number four, okay, if David HaMelech had to forget something, maybe he could have forgotten the chveis where he put his pants the night before. Right? What's the connection dafka to the Acharon? Why was it that he forgot this mitzvah of carrying the Acharon on the shoulders? And question number five is, why does the Acharon have to be carried on the shoulders? What's the reason for that mitzvah? So to recap again, 5 questions. Why did David call Torah Zmiras? What was wrong with calling the Torah Zmiras? Why was David punished with forgetfulness? Why did forgetfulness specifically involve the Acharon? And what's the reason for carrying the Acharon on the shoulders?
David HaMelech called Ne'im Zemirot Yisrael. Ne'im is Zemirot Yisrael.
Yeah. So he had an appreciation for songs. So in last class we gave, we answered the first 2 questions. We answered why David HaMelech called Torah songs, and we answered what the problem was. And that leaves us now with 3 questions. So what was the nekuda, what we spoke about last time? We explained that Torah has what's called a pnimius and a chitzenius. There's the inner dimension of Torah, there's the external dimension of Torah. The external dimension of Torah is that part of Torah which is the source of all worlds, and all the worlds receive its chayis and hashpah, its energy, its vitality from the Torah, and that's why we do a mitzvah. We bring that energy into this world. Chas v'shalom, we don't do a mitzvah correctly or properly, so that energy is stopped, because all of the worlds are bottled to the Torah. They receive their energy from the Torah. Which is why David HaMelech says, Marabu Masacha Hashem Ma'id Amku Machsharisecha. So David HaMelech looked around and says, wow, take a look at the greatness of Hashem's creations. Marabu Masacha, look at how many and how amazing the creations of Hashem are. And what's the next thought he had is, wow, Ma'id Amku Machsharisecha, how deep is your machshava? What is the machshava? Is Torah. So David HaMelech who suffered a lot in his lifetime when he was in a place of anxiety and fear. So he would sit and he would learn Torah. And he says, wow, this Torah, it's like a song. I enjoy it. Why? Because it distracts me. It takes me away from all of my worries because I think about it. What am I worried about? Things from this world. But ultimately, Torah is greater than this world. All of the world receives its energy from Torah. So that's why David HaMelech praised Torah as a song. However, the Eibishter wasn't happy with this. And Hashem told David, no. That element of Torah, the fact that the Torah is the makar, the source of all the worlds, that is the chitzonius of Torah. That is the external element of Torah. The pnimius of Torah is miyuchad with Hashem Himself. And just like Hashem Himself, you can't praise Hashem and say, the essence of Hashem, you can't praise as the creator of the world because Hashem is above and beyond that. So also the essence of Torah is well above and beyond being a makar for the worlds. So when David called Torah songs, thereby praising the Torah as being the makar, the source of the worlds, that the Eibishter found fault in that. Okay.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't see how much David HaMelech suffered in his life. So leave him alone, but he didn't make a mistake.
What page are you on?
Kuf Samach Aleph, opposite of page 320. Okay, so what do we have? We have that there is the pnimius and the chitzonius of Torah. There's the internal aspect and the external aspect. Now, before we move on, I want to give a little hakdama. Just like by Hashem, there's pnimius and chitzonius. In our lives also, there's pnimius and chitzonius. There's our pnimius. We're our essences, and there's chitzonius, things that are relatively external. My essence are those things that really, really matter to me. They essentially matter to me. Chitzonius, and this is something we've talked about many times in Tanya, chitzonius is something which doesn't essentially matter to me. I want it because of something else. So I go to work. Why do I work? Do I want to work? What? I want the money. So the work is the chitzonius, the pnimius is the money. Do I really want money?
You want the things that money can buy?
I want the things that money can buy, right. I once heard a line, right? The people say that money can't buy happiness. And to those people, I tell them, you don't know where to shop. No, but there's also another, they say, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy things that bring you happiness. I don't know if that's true, but right, at the end of the day, money itself is about the power. At the end of the day, if you have a stack of 100s this big, but if you can't do anything with it, it's a help to garnish, right? So what you really want is the luxuries in life, and what you really want is to feel good. So everything is pnimius and chitzonius. Now, when we're talking about forgetfulness, the idea of forgetting, where does forgetfulness come from? Something which is a chitzoniistic thing, something which is not an essential thing to you, you could forget about. But something which is essential, we don't forget about. And I know that we gave this muscle in the past. Like if you go to a married person and you say to him, so tell me, are you married? And he's like, oh, one second. Oh, yeah. Married. Or you go to a person with kids. Imagine that the way, imagine I'm supposed to take my kids one morning somewhere and then my wife, hey, you didn't take the kids? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that I have kids.
Sometimes there's fathers who say, well, they're your children. So
now I have a better excuse. I'm sorry, I pushed it today. It slipped my mind. I forgot that I have kids. Not I forgot that I have an appointment. That's a reasonable thing. Why? Because their appointment is chitzonius. That's not the pnimius, right? I forgot. What? Talking about money. So imagine, we forget things, right? But imagine if you won the lottery, and you have to be tomorrow morning between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning at the office in order to pick up your $10 million check. And imagine it comes 10 o'clock in the morning, and I come to you and say, Sasson, you got the check? Ooh, I forgot. I forgot. This morning I was supposed to get that check for $10 million.
We'll be up the whole night.
Vergessen. Okay. So as we see over here, that the fact that we forget things, that comes from something is relatively chitzonius, as opposed to something which is pnimius. So David HaMelech, now we're understanding the midah keneged midah. What was David HaMelech's mistake? Why was the Eibishter upset at him? because he was relating to Torah, but the chitzonius level of Torah, not the pnimius level of Torah, the chitzonius level of Torah. So what did he forget? What is his punishment? He forgets. Which forgetting, the idea of shikha, forgetting, comes from the Acharon chitzonius. Sorry? Yep. And what did he forget? He forgot a mitzvah that's associated with the Aron. And here's something which is very interesting. What was in the Aron? The Aron was the luchas. Now the luchas, we know, were very unique on many, many different levels. Now the Even Ezra actually, Even Ezra says, so we know that Rashi says that, tells us that the luchas are made out of sapphire. Even Ezra says that what sapphire? The Even Ezra is not in his Pshut Shel Mikra. He is not so concerned about medrashim. He's Pasha Pshat. He says, where are you going to find a piece of sapphire that big? Impossible. It wasn't sapphire. He says, are you going to say that what made the luchas precious? He says, what do you mean what made them precious? These are the luchas from the Eibishter. The Eibishter inscribed the luchas. They're precious by, it doesn't make a difference what kind of stone they're made out of. It doesn't make them more precious if they're made out of sapphire, right? The luchas, so they were unique, but there was something interesting about that, which is that the luchas, they did not have a back to them. On all the Aseret Sadibris were on all 6 sides, not even 4. Also top and bottom. They stayed in Yerushalmi. All 6 sides. Now what's crazy about that is, someone help me out of here.
That if you reverse Tanya, it's backwards. So, but
it's not like it's back. Yeah, that's true. It was carved through and through. So number one, it should have been backwards. But also, it's not like it's backwards. If it's on all 6 sides, you realize that it's all intersecting with each other. All of the.
Oh yeah, it's even worse.
But in every single side, you saw it straight and it went straight through. You gotta agree. That's pretty incredible. That's pretty cool. And what does that tell us? That the Eibishter knows how to make incredible tricks. He makes Houdini look amateur. Look what the Eibishter can do. He can take luchas, take a block of sapphire, and scribe it from all 6 sides, through and through, and each side you look at it and it's straight and it goes through. What's the problem? The problem is, why would the Eibishter do that? We know there's a rule. The Ran talks about this. Drash Ran. That Kuchabrichul Yovel Nisa La Magna. The Eibishter doesn't do a miracle for no reason. That's what fathers do. Fathers like to do to the kids. They like to impress their kids by showing them tricks. Look what I can do, right? The Eibishter doesn't need to impress us. The Eibishter is not into doing miracles. The Eibishter doesn't really like miracles too much. What's the proof the Eibishter doesn't like miracles too much?
The world works naturally. I mean, in the same day, the
Eibishter created nature, and he decided that the world operates by laws of nature. There's a proof that he likes nature, otherwise he wouldn't have done that. The Eibishter could have made a world which is a miraculous world, but obviously that wasn't his plan.
No, if it's a miracle, then that means that there's something wrong that Hashem had.
Yeah, you're taking it a philosophical step deeper, which is true. But we don't. You're telling the reason why. Before we even get to the reason why, just on a very simple level. Obviously, the Eibishter wants the world to run according to Teva. As the Ran says, the Teva is very yakar, very precious to the Eibishter. The Eibishter decided he wants the world to run according to Teva. So now, does that mean that there are no miracles? Yeah, once in a while a miracle is necessary. You know, the Egyptians are chasing the Eden, and they have a sea in front of them, so you split the sea in order to let the Eden through. I get that. But what would be the point of making this kind of miracle with the luchas? How would the Eibishter do that? And the answer is that it wasn't a miracle. What do I mean by that it wasn't a miracle? It was actually natural. Meaning everything here in this world is an expression of, an extension of a spiritual reality. That's a basic idea in Kabbalah, this idea of Yishtalshlus. So, the luchas, where did they come from? They came from a place where there was only pnimius. There was no chitzonius or Acharon. And therefore, automatically, here in the physical world, it manifested itself in that way. Because that's what its source is. put it in somewhat different words. You know, if you have on a computer, so you open up your computer and there's a little blue over here and there's a little green over here, and then you do something and then there comes a moving picture over here, and you put in some numbers and something else appears over here. It's not miracles happening. This is all in the code, right? In the code of the computer, it's causing it. The world also has a code. The code is an alakus, whatever, and everything in the world naturally is because of its spiritual code. So, the code of the luchas was one in which there was no Acharon, there was no backside. It was all pnimius, because the luchas represents that dimension of Torah, the pnimius dimension, that dimension which David HaMelech wasn't paying attention to, that dimension of Torah, which David HaMelech was punished because he wasn't appreciating it properly. That's what the luchas represented. And therefore the luchas obviously didn't have any back to it. Why? Because in its code, there is no back. It's all pnimis, it's all front, it's all panim, no acher. So that's why, now we're beginning to understand, why did David HaMelech forget the mitzvah of carrying the Aron on the shoulders? Now we're understanding. The reason why he forgot is because forgetting comes from Acharon, comes from something which is an external dimension. And what did he forget also? He forgot the mitzvah of carrying the Aron with the luchas, because that's what he forgot about. When David called the mitzvahs midas, what was he really forgetting about? He was forgetting this idea that Torah is the luchas element of Torah, that element of Torah which is only pnimius and no chitzonius in it. Let's do this inside. We're going to start. It says Ulefisha Tafas David. We're on page Kuf Samach Aleph, 7 lines from the bottom of this, from the end of the perek. First was on the line. Ulefisha Tafas David bebechinas Acharayim, because David, when he called the Torah's minutes, when he called the songs, you're on the wrong page. No, you're not. You're on the right page. You're good. You're not finding it? 7 lines from the end of the perek, not the end of the page.
Okay.
Well, because David, when he called the Torah songs, so what was he was referring to? He was toifus. He grabbed onto the level of Acharon, the external backside of Torah. Lakach nenas, therefore he was punished with forgetting. Haba min bechinas Acharon. Where does forgetfulness come from? It comes from Acharon. The Nela mental fisha, and he temporarily forgot Mashakotz, that which the pasuk says, Aveda Sakedesh Aleim. The Levium, they have the holy work, which is their responsibility. Bakasef Yisrael, they have to carry the Aron on their shoulders. And what was the purpose of carrying the Aron on their shoulders? That's the last question that we still didn't answer yet. To connect the shoulders. The ksafayim, the shoulders represent Acharon. We want to connect that to Avodas HaKodesh, Chachma Ilah, which is, what is HaKodesh in general? The word Kodesh always refers to Chachma. He Chachma Ilah, Bebechinas Panim, which is the Pnimius of Torah, which is from where the luchas come from, in the Aron. Why? Because the luchas is Pnimius, as the pasuk says, Ksuvim Mishnei Evreim B'chulu, that the luchas were written from both sides. As it's written in Yerushalmi, the luchas did not have a panim and an acher, they didn't have a back and a front. Ayin Sham, take a look over there. Okay, so now we need a little more explanation to understand what's going on. So we know when the Kehanim, when they carried the Aron, actually the Levim, it was the Levim carried the Aron, but then later on it was the Kehanim once they went to Yisrael. So they had to carry it panim, connected panim. They weren't allowed to, you think you'd carry it, so you carry it with your back. No, it said that the ones in the front were walking backwards, and the ones in the back were walking forwards, which is, again, represents the idea of panim bepanim. Panim bepanim means, what does panim mean? So we spoke about it already a little today. Panim is where my desire is. Panim is what I really, really want. That's my pnimius. We say by Matan Torah, it says, the pasuk says, Panim bepanim diber Hashem imachem, that Hashem spoke to us face to face. What does that mean? Hashem has a panim, what does that mean? That means that Hashem expressed His desire towards us, and we reciprocated and expressed our desire to Hashem. Just like, practically speaking, when you have two people talking, close people, and they're looking at each other face to face, it's an expression of their connection, their very deep connection. There was that deep connection by Matan Torah. And that connection, which was by Matan Torah, carried over afterwards. Also, when the Kehanim, when the Levim, when they carried the Aron, also they had to face the Aron. The Luchas represented, again, the Pnimius, and they had to face the Aron. So Panim represents that which I really have a strong desire for, and my Achorayim are the things which not so much. I do them because I need to do them. So a lot of things in our life which are Acharon things. So someone used my car this week and knocked off a mirror. So I have to go to the auto body shop and get a mirror installed. That's Acharon. Am I really interested in that? No, I don't want to. But I want to drive places. What? I need a mirror. So I did it, right? That's Acharon.
You get a ticket.
Sorry?
Well, you get a ticket.
I'm not worried about a ticket. I'm worried about I drove last night to Lakewood for a wedding, and you need a mirror when you're driving on a highway. You need a mirror. So my pnimius is I want to be by the wedding. So a wedding, the mishpacha, and that's what I desire. And in order to do that, I have to go to
Mechanic.
I have to go to the mechanic and fix the auto body shop and fix the mirror. That's Acharon. A lot of things in our life that are Acharon. A lot of things in our life, we do them not because we have a cheshek or desire in them. It's not like I woke up in the morning, yesterday morning, and said, hooray, today, you know what I get to do today? I get to go to the auto body shop and get a new mirror. Baruch Hashem, jump out of bed with a chayis. No, you got to do it. As there are many other things in life that we got to do. Panim represents those things that we have a tainugin, a geschmack, a oinigin. Acharayim are the things that we do because we have to do. Panim bepanim. When we say Matan Torah, panim bepanim diber Hashem, that means at that moment, Hashem expressed to us His desire for us, His passion, His excitement. We weren't Acharayim, we're not Acharayim, we're not there like everything else in the world. The Eibishter creates, what do you have over there? What's that? Kippers, what does it say over there? Chippers. Hippers. Chickpeas. Hippies, right?
Chickpea.
So why did the Eibishter create that? Did you think the Eibishter was excited and say, oh, look, wow, I'm going to create hippies, I'm so excited? No. The Eibishter's excited. You know what the Eibishter's excited about? The Eibishter's excited about me learning Torah. That's the Eibishter gets excited. The Eibishter's excited about you doing a mitzvah. The Eibishter's excited about me and you, period, because we're b'no yechida, right? And they oh, you know what? So I have to make hippies because to give. But it's not. That's the Achorayim. That's the Achorayim. Panim is the Eibishter revealed to us His desire for us, and we reciprocated with our desire for Him. Eibishter, all I want is you. All I want is you.
So no secondary for panim and panim.
What do you mean we want the Eibishter? I have to eat, and I have to sleep, and I have to go and get a mirror on my car, and I have to work, right? And I have to go shopping, and I have to do laundry, all of these things. These are all Acharayim. All Acharayim. And that's what we have to have our priorities straight. There are many people who's the other way around. The geschmack is in the eating and the sleeping, right? And what do? I have to daven. No. That's panim bepanim is the other way around. Panim bepanim is. So the kehanim, when they're facing the Aron, when the kehanim facing the Aron, they're expressing on behalf of Klal Yisrael. They're expressing their desire for Hashem. The Aron represents Hashem's pnimius, and they're facing panim bepanim. They're facing this mutual tainug, pleasure, desire in each other. And when we carry the Aron, what does it say? We have to carry it on our shoulders. What's the significance of that? The shoulders already represent the beginning of the back. So I'm facing the Aron, I have this panim bepanim connection to Hashem, and at the same time, the Aron is sitting on my shoulders, meaning I'm connecting also my back to Hashem. And what does that mean? In Avodas Hashem, what does that mean, Beruchnius? That means that when my desire is for Hashem, when my geschmack, when my tainug is in Torah, is in mitzvahs, then it's not only I'm connected to Hashem in my Torah mitzvahs, I'm also connecting to Hashem my back, also my eating and also my sleeping. and also my job, and also am I going and fixing the mirror on my car. All of these become connected to Hashem. I'm connecting, as the Alter Rebbe says over here. I'm connecting and uniting my shoulders to Acharon Elavedas HaKodesh. Meaning, where if I eat and have a geschmack in the eating, and that's my ponim, then that obviously that eating is not connected to Hashem. But if I'm facing the Eibishter ponim beponim, like the Kehanim face the Aron, in other words, my geschmack isn't the Eibishter, my geschmack isn't serving Hashem, and everything else I do because I need to do. I need to do it. I need to eat. I need to sleep. I need to, right? And my geschmack isn't Torah mitzvahs. When I do that, what I'm doing is I'm not only connecting my ponim to Hashem, I'm also connecting my Acharon. Then suddenly my eating becomes holy, my sleeping becomes holy, my job becomes holy also. And that's the significance of carrying the Aron on the shoulders. And because David HaMelech, he was thinking only about the Acharon of Torah, not the Pnimius of Torah. So obviously, what's going to happen? He's going to forget that mitzvah whose entire symbolism is connecting to the Pnimius of Hashem. Because first of all, forgetting is an idea of Acharon, and second of all, what was he forgetting? He forgot that mitzvah whose whole point is the idea of connecting to the Pnimius of Hashem. What's going on, Sheldon? You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing some blink stares today, more than usual. And to understand this a little better, we'll give you over. During last year, I told you that there is a mimer from the Tzemach Tzedek in the Sefer called Derech, which is a mimer where he explains the mitzvah of Masa Aron Bekatzef, where he elaborates much more on what Alter Rebbe is saying over here. If you remember, we said that the Tzemach Tzedek explains why did David HaMelech compare the Torah to a song? What is the significance of a song? To explain, the song is something that you can do again and again and again and again. You can sing it again. If you enjoy a song, you continuously get pleasure from it, even though it's the same tenuah, it's the same note, it's the same. There's that beauty in a song, which even though it's the same thing again, again, and again, you keep on enjoying it again, 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 and again. And that's what David HaMelech was saying. Every mitzvah is the same thing. And nevertheless, I take such pleasure in mitzvahs. Even though every mitzvah is the same thing, it's like a song to me. The Tzemach Tzedek analyzes and says, 1 second. What do you mean every mitzvah is the same thing? So let's talk about that for a second. Something that we've learned about in the past, specifically if I recall correctly in Siman Chavtes and the Igeres HaKodesh, we know that mitzvahs, they come from Hashem's Ratzon. But where does Hashem's Ratzon come from? What's deeper even than Ratzon? Anyone remembers? 10 points if you remember this. What is deeper even than Hashem's Ratzon? Is Hashem's Oineg. Hashem's Tainuk. Tainuk, pleasure, is deeper than desire, than will. And why is that? Because what do you want? You want something which brings you pleasure. What do you not want? You want something which is going to cause you pain, or the opposite of pleasure. So that means that the source of Ratzon is Tainug. When I want something, it's because I have a Tainug. The same thing is also, mitzvahs are Hashem's Ratzon, but where are they sourced in? They're sourced in Hashem's Tainug. Hashem takes pleasure. Why does Hashem want us to do mitzvahs? Because He takes pleasure in us doing a mitzvah. Now let's examine this for a second. So let's say I could want many different things. I want some of the hippies, I want water, some cookies, I want a tissue, I want a car, I want a nice couch, right? In life we want many, many different things. Just like Hashem has 613 different mitzvahs. He wants many things. Is my desire for a car different than my desire for a bottle of water? I'm not talking about quantitatively. I'm talking about qualitatively. My desire, if I desire 10 different things, and we all desire many things, is my desire for one thing different than my desire for the other? Or is it all the same desire?
Same.
Same. What?
Well, I think it might be different.
In what way?
Some things are essential and others are not.
Right. So I want some things more and I want some things less. That's quantitative. I'm saying qualitatively, at the end of the day, if I want 15 things, right? Today, I wanted 15 things. As the day went on, I wanted this, then I wanted that one. The difference between this want and that want and the other want is the object of my want. What I wanted is different, but the feeling of want is the same. It can be a little more intense, it can be less intense, but it doesn't make a difference what I want. It's the same ratzon. I want, or to put it in different words, the word ratzon is related to the word ratz, which is to run, right? It's me running after something. Doesn't mean literally physically running. Ratzon is internally. Internally, I'm running after. So the difference between running after this or running after that and running after that is what am I running after? But ultimately, it's the same thing. So from the perspective of ratzon, every mitzvah is not the same thing. It's the same. The Eibishter has a ratzon. The difference is, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. But what is the toichin? What is the substance, the significance of each thing is Hashem's ratzon, and Hashem's ratzon is the same. So you go to, why am I doing this mitzvah? Hashem wants me to. Why am I doing this mitzvah? Hashem wants me to. Or let me put it in some different words. If I have a hardware store, and I have a gopher, you know what a gopher is? The 19-year-old boy who I pay him $15 an hour, and he's there. Okay, mop the floor. And now go. I need you pick me up an order of screws. Okay, now go deliver this plywood to that person. Now go man the register for an hour. Now I need you to go and to change that light bulb, right? So he's doing a million things throughout the entire day. But is he really doing a million different things throughout the entire day? No. Everything is the same. What is everything's the same? Yes, and what am I doing? I'm doing what my master wants. Now he wants me to do this, now he wants me to do that. But the toichin of it all is the same. It's the ratzon. And the ratzon is the same. But now I have another question for you. Why do I want the hippies? Because it brings me pleasure. Eating it, right? Why do I want the car? Because it brings me pleasure. Why do I want to go to a concert? Because listening to music, it brings me pleasure. Why do I want to go to a beautiful, scenery? Because it gives me pleasure. Is the pleasure in having a car and eating a hippies and going to a concert, is it the same pleasure?
Some stronger, some less.
No, it's not about stronger or less. It's a different pleasure. The pleasure of eating a steak and the pleasure of listening to music, they're both pleasure, but it's not the same pleasure.
Music is an elevated.
Everything, the pleasure of going and exercise, the pleasure of going and learning a daf gemara. It's a different sensation. They're all pleasure, but each one is a different pleasure.
Oh, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of mitzvahs, mitzad, if you're talking about on the tainug level of Hashem, every mitzvah is different. Every mitzvah gives Hashem a different pleasure. On the ratzon level, every mitzvah is the same. On the tainug level, every mitzvah is different. When David goes and calls Torah's miras haylichukecha, so obviously, and David saying, what, every mitzvah is the same thing, but it's still like a song to me. So obviously, what's David referring to? The ratzon. And that's what Hashem tells David HaMelech, hello, ratzon. What about the tainuk? Because when you're referring to the tainuk of mitzvahs there, you can't say it's a song. Because the whole idea of a song is that it's the same thing, again. You're forgetting about the tainuk. Pnimius is tainug, chitzonius is ratzon. Right? Just like I want to go and to fix the mirror, I take pleasure in going to the wedding. I don't take pleasure. Ratzon is the chitzonius, the tainug is the pnimius. And David HaMelech was focused on the ratzon, and he forgot about the essence of Torah, which is the tainug. There comes along Reb Shulman and says, but the Eivish Torah is the one who has the tainug. And how was David being faulted? And this is also a question that you had last time. How's David being faulted? So this is a question that the Rebbe Rashab asks in a Maimer, and I want to give an answer. But before I want to give the answer, I want to give it the Vatayra about this parsha. Is that good? Sasson, you're fine?
100%, whatever you do.
Good. So last week's, I should have my wife give you a call. You should teach her a thing or two about attitudes. Anyways, so last week parsha, what do we have? We have Matan Torah. this most amazing display, this yichud panim bepanim, right? We spoke about everything. And then the Eibishter comes to Moshe and says, okay, Moshe, ve'ela mishpatim asher tasim lefneim. Now they got the Torah, time to give them laws. Time to tell them mitzvahs. So the Eibishter takes a pause for a second. Obviously, I'm being somewhat facetious, and the Eibishter thinks, okay, it's after Matan Torah. Yidden are on this high, and you give mitzvahs. What is the first mitzvah? Let me come up with something good. A powerful, amazing, incredibly important mitzvah, fundamental mitzvah. I got it. Kisikna eved ivri. Here, if you buy yourself a slave, sheishanim yavid, then you have to have 6 years, yes. Yeah, that's the first mitzvah after Matan Torah. That's the first mitzvah. How, think about it, is it even relevant today? Was it relevant? You think that in the desert, the people were busy selling them? Well, the whole selling was either because a person is very poor, which in the desert there was no one who was poor, or it's because a person who was nimkar b'gnei vasei. I don't imagine in the desert a lot of people who were being sold as avodim evedivities, right? That's the first mitzvah. Lusasa, it's a klotz kasha. You know what a klotz kasha means?
Grocery store.
Klotz kasha is like a question that you don't even think of asking, but once someone asks, that's right there in front of your eyes. Why is that the first mitzvah? So the Alter Rebbe talks about this in a Maimer. Sorry?
It's not the first mitzvah, but it's...
Chodesh Hazeh is the first one.
It is the first mitzvah after Matan Torah.
Also,
Okay. Yeah, I know. I know. You're right. I stand corrected. but you still understand that. But that was for whatever reason, that wasn't a mitzvah after Matan Torah. The Eibishter, that was like the continuation of Matan Torah. That was the message. Now, and that, by the way, is very interesting. Why that message is the conclusion of Matan Torah? I don't know, but it is. I know there's a Vart and Baal Shem Tov on it, but next parsha begins. Okay, now we got the Torah. Now it's time to start giving you mitzvahs, and that's the first mitzvah. But you're right. You're right. So the Chassidus, answer is given very simple. Because after Matan Torah, that's the first thing the Eibishter tells the Yidden, you have to be an Evet to the Eibishter. Whole Yidden of being an Evet, we have to be an Evet. So therefore the dinim of Avadim come first, because the bottom line is the Toichen of Matan Torah expresses itself, the substance of Matan Torah expresses itself in being an Evet. Now, the Alter Rebbe explains in a Maimer that in Evet, we have in this week's Parsha, there are 3 different Avadim. There's Evet Ivri, there's Evet Knaini, and there's Amma Ivriya. Evet Ivri is mentioned first, then we have Amma Ivriya, and Evet Knaini is mentioned Derech Hagav. The Pasuk mentions Lo Yisei Kitzei Savadim Derech. Evet Knaini is mentioned by the way. And something that we've spoken about many times, so when we're learning about something in Torah, we're never learning about something else or someone else. If the Torah tells us there are 3 kinds of Avadim, Evet Ivri, Evet Knaini, and Amma Ivriya, that means that within us there's Evet Ivri, Evet Knaini, Amma Ivriya. What is the Evet Ivri, Evet Knaini, Amma Ivriya? So the Alter Rebbe explains. Evet Knaini, and obviously by the way, all of these are Madrigas, because they're all Avadim. They're all Avadim of Hashem. So Alter Rebbe explains the lowest level in serving Hashem is Evet Knaini, the next level up is Evet Ivri, and the highest level is Amma Ivriya. Evet Knaini is someone who serves Hashem, but as Chazal tell us, Avda behefkeira nichale, which means, translates as a Eved.
Hefker?
Really what he wants is to do whatever, he wants to be free. He's not interested in serving his master. Elamah, he's scared that if he's not going to work, his master is going to, they say, Hakos Hashevet, right? Give him patch. Eved. So also the Eved is someone who serves the Eibishter. But really what's his tainug is in Elamaza? Really what would he rather be doing is
Pleasure.
Taiva's pleasure. But he has the neshama in him. The neshama is giving him some patch and saying, no, you have to serve the Eibishter, you have to do it. So he does it. But at the end of the day, Behefkeira nichali, he'd rather not. That's the lowest level in serving the Eibishter. He has to force himself to serve the Eibishter. Then comes along, the next level up is a Eved Ivri. Eved Ivri is someone who they take pleasure in serving their master. And in fact, even though they also take pleasure in Elam Haza, but it bothers them that they take pleasure in Elam Haza. Because really what they want only to have pleasure in the Sayyid, who really, they wish that their only pleasure would be in Torah and mitzvahs, in the relationship with Hashem. I have a nefesh Bahamas who enjoys a steak also. But he's not happy about that. Not happy. Which, by the way, the Alter Rebbe says, that's the Iker Madrigas Beinani. The main Madrig of the Beinani is someone who's like that, who serves the Eibishter. And Taka also has taivas, in other words, has desires for this world, but is bothered by the fact they have taivas. The Evet Knani isn't bothered by the fact they have taivas. That's what they love their taivas. They're bothered that they have to serve the Eibishter to a certain extent. They feel forced to. The Evet Ivri, no, is at a higher Madrig. And then you have Amma Yivriya. Amma Yivriya is a tzaddik. Has zero desire, pleasure, passion in this world, and only is about the Eibishter. Those are the three madrigas. So the Rebbe says of these three madrigas, two of them are what our avodah is. Our main avodah is what does the parsha begin with? Kisikna Eved. The main avodah of a yid is Eved, because that is the expectation of everyone, is to be a Beinani. Expectation of everyone is not only to serve the Eibishter, but to have pleasure in serving the Eibishter. To the extent that the fact that you have pleasure in Elam Haza bothers you. That's why it's the first one mentioned, even though it's not the highest level. And the next one that's mentioned is Amma Yivriya. That's a tzaddik, which also is something which a yid should be trying to do, to become a tzaddik. And Evet Knaini isn't even mentioned in this week's parsha, because Evet Knaini is not, that's a madriga which we're not aspiring to. It's a madriga in Takan Avedas Hashem, but we're supposed to be trying for higher than that. It's only, therefore, it's only alluded to in the parsha, but it's not mentioned explicitly in the parsha. In Chassidus, it talks about, the Rabbi Shab talks about this a lot, in Samach Vav, the difference between an Eved Neman and an Eved Pashat. There are two different kinds of Avadim, two different kinds of servants. There's the Evet Pashat. The Evet Pashat is the one, whatever the master tells him to do, he does. Then there's the Evet Neman. Evet Neman is the one who takes pleasure in serving his master. He appreciates, he understands the greatness of his master. He's not just doing it because he's forced to. He actually appreciates and enjoys it. Has a tainug in it. The bottom line is that as Yidden, we're supposed to try to feel a tainug in a mitzvah. Not only Eibishter, you want me to do it, I'll do it, which is the Ratzon, which is the Zmiris. Zmiris is, whatever you tell me to do, Eibishter, I'll do it. But every mitzvah is the same thing. Why? Because every mitzvah, I'm relating to the Ratzon in it. And the Ratzon in every mitzvah is the same. As Yidden, we're expected to be a little higher. At least the Eved Ivri. We're expected, when we do a mitzvah, we feel the geschmack of that mitzvah. The tainug of that mitzvah. The pnimius of that mitzvah. The Ratzon is the chitzonius. The pnimius of that mitzvah is the tainug. And we're expected to feel a little of the tainug. And that's why the Eibishter tells David, I don't understand. You're calling my mitzvah Zmiris. Zmiris implies that every single mitzvah to you is the same. Putting on tefillin, blowing a shofar, putting up a mezuzah is all the same. If you have a geschmack in a mitzvah, it's not the same. When you say it's the same, you're implying, Eibishter, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. You're only relating to the Ratzon of the mitzvah. I want you to relate to panim b'panim. Panim b'panim means that your geschmack touches the Eibishter's geschmack. I want you to have that geschmack in a mitzvah. And when you have a geschmack in the mitzvah, you have a geschmack in serving the Eibishter, then also, as we mentioned, we're mechaber, the ksafayim, then we're also all the other areas of life, which we don't have a geschmack in. The eating, the sleeping, the business, and the getting the mirror fixed. Everything becomes connected ultimately to the Pnimius of Hashem, and everything becomes part of our Avodas Hashem.